What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I am here with Casey and Michelle, and we are discussing episode 2 of The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. And all I'm going to start this off by saying is reunited.
And it feels so good.
Girl. We got the reunion, which we got it in the end of the last episode. But we got the full-fledged reunion in this episode. And the thing that I loved about it is that they gave it to us and we still had half the episode to go.
Yeah.
They did.
I was like, oh, so y'all are going to give us y'all are done with the breadcrumbs. Y'all are giving us full-fledged Michonne. Oh my God. I was so happy. Michelle, in the group text, you said you cried the whole episode.
Yeah, it started earlier on, and I don't know what was happening. I really don't know if I was tired. I really have no idea. I started early.
It was.
I started
emotional episode.
I started when I don't know. I think when Michonne was talking, just the beginning when she was talking about she got to get back to her kids, and I was like, oh, no. She trying to signal her kids. I was like, oh, this is going to be so hard.
I know. Okay, we're going to talk about the episode. We're going to get to the good part because I know we have a lot to say about that, but there's a lot about the beginning of the episode that I do want to touch on. So as we know, this is the start of Michonne's story once she leaves Alexandria. And we see at the beginning, they tell us this is 6 years after the bridge. So this is like still fresh off. She just left Alexandria. She's on the search for Rick. And one of the things that I love about what we see from Michonne in this episode is when you see her meeting the new people, like she starts out the episode, she's talking to someone because of the two people that she helped the last time we saw her. She's in their community now. She's talking to the leader. She was like, look, your people fell behind. I helped them. I understand you're appreciative, but I got somewhere else to be. I got something else to do. If you just give me a horse and some supplies, I'll be on my way, you know? And one of the things that I loved about it is starting with that and then going through the episode, I think we see a little bit of a difference in Michonne from the way she was at Alexandria, because remember when she left, this was when Connie's group had just joined, had just come to Alexandria. And remember, Michonne was in this very weird headspace where she didn't want outsiders in. She didn't want to help other people. And she was living separately from the rest of the group. So Hilltop, the Kingdom, she didn't really have any dealings with them at this time. And so to see her flip and embrace new people and embrace them to the point where she really felt the deaths that we saw in this episode, I loved it because I was like, again, we talked about, the other spinoffs and character growth and them learning and changing. And so to start off the episode with that with Michonne, I was like, okay, I like this. It's different. We get to see a little bit of a different side to her because even though she is on this mission, even though she's upset because she's missing him, she's missing her kids, she's still open enough to welcome other people, to realize and acknowledge that she needs other people in order to complete this mission. And I thought it was so refreshing to see that from her.
I was very happy to have an episode centered around my baby.
Of course.
I enjoy every minute of it. Only thing I will say is they clearly don't a second season because they killing every goddamn body. Ain't nobody saying ain't not one person has made it to the next goddamn episode.
And I was like, that's not gonna happen. The person I'm ready to buy marriage who I live with, however he says it, was watching me, was like, oh man, they all gonna die. I'm like, no, they're not. This is not where they're heading. And then it was one by one. Is you all right?
Yeah.
I felt bad for them. I thought they were gonna make it a few episodes.
No. I think as soon as what was her name? Was it Ailey? I think that was her name was Ellie. As soon as she said she was pregnant, I was like,
I said she's about to die.
I was thinking the boyfriend or husband was gonna die. I didn't really think she was.
I didn't think
I
he was
figured he
gonna die.
would too. But as soon as she,
No,
as
you know
soon
who
as
I did not expect Nat to die.
girl,
I didn't expect that.
I
either.
didn't that one coming.
I didn't.
The other two, gone.
when I say I
Well,
was
once
on my couch wailing when that died, I was wailing. I was one of the wailing walkers. I wailed. Speaking of which, Casey, you got another name to put on the shirt. Wailers. Like, where are they getting these names from? Like, how do you even come up with wailers for walkers? They groan, they grunt, they don't wail. But you know what? I think we all said something. No, that was Esteban we were talking about, because we were like, if he dies, we're gonna be upset. But you know what? At this point, I feel like we just need to go on ahead and prepare ourselves, because it's possible. It's possible Thorne is going to be dead by the end of the series too. So I love these characters.
You
I
know
love
who
them.
I can't wait to see die. Can you guess? Can you guess who I can't wait to see die?
Jadis.
I can't wait till her ass is dead.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say Jadis.
Please make her walk. I could be like,
we're gonna talk about Jadis. We're gonna get to that part. Yeah, Nat. I'm in my feelings about Nat, but let's go back to the episode. Let's talk about the episode a little bit. So I remember when they introduced this new big group in Michonne's last episode. And I remember back then we were having conversations. This was before we started covering the show on the podcast. I think this was even before we had a podcast, or maybe right around the time. Yeah, she was already gone because we started with like season 10. But I remember us having discussions about whether or not, like, how are they introducing a whole nother group? Like, what is this group about? Did y'all just introduce them just to get her out? Like, we didn't know what was going on. And I'm glad they kind of tied that into the show. But it's like, when we meet the person who is leading this community and she's talking to Michonne, she's sitting there. Obviously, Michonne is telling her she has to go. She has something to do. Why do people keep trying to get folks to stay when they obviously don't want to stay? Well, before you go, let me tell you a little bit about our community, because when you find the person you're looking for, you can also be a great. She don't want to stay.
Like, can I get the horse? Can I just get the horse?
Right. That repeatedly.
Just give me the supplies and I'll be on my way. Or if you can't help, I can just go.
Just go.
I don't have to be here.
Okay. I'm okay.
And if you don't want, and I'm even cool if you don't want to help me.
Right.
I'm go.
But the people that she saved were this woman's sister and the sister's boyfriend. And apparently in their community, they have this rule. If someone falls behind, they get left behind. They don't double back. They don't go back and save them. And that shit ain't sitting right with Michonne now. Even when Michonne was in her hands off.
You don't leave people behind.
Yeah, you don't leave people behind. And I don't think she would have left them to just, even with Connie's group, she was like, look, we can give y'all some stuff and y'all can be on your way. But she wasn't just going to put them out there and, hand them to the wolves or whatever. So when that woman started talking like that, and then just the way she was saying, like, but just listen. And she was giving me Jenny vibes. Virginia from Fear the Walking Dead. She was really giving me Jenny vibes. And I was like, okay, no, this is somebody we're not finna deal with. We don't want to deal with. I'm so glad she was not a huge part of the episode, because literally her sister and the boyfriend was like, just give her the horse, give her what she wants. And then here comes Nat. When I tell you, that is one of the best character intros in The Walking Dead, because he walked in fussing at her because because the sister and the boyfriend got left behind. And I know their names. I know it's Bailey and I think Elle. But he was pissed off because they got left behind because they're friends of his. He wanted to go back and help them, and he wasn't allowed. So he's coming through. He's going off on her. He was like, I'm the one that keeps this running. He's pointing like on the map, and he is going off, and she ain't said a word. And even the two people who he's pissed off because he thinks they're dead, they haven't said a word. They're like, we're gonna let him finish his little rant. And he was like, I'm gone. I'm done. I'm taking my wagon. I'm taking my toys. I'm out of here. And they call his name, and he realizes they're alive and that this woman is the one that helped them. He turned around. He was like, oh, you helped them? You saved them? He was like, yeah.
Give her the horse.
Give her everything.
You want your own wagon? You ride VIP with us. You need a horse? I get you a horse. I get you the best horse.
Give her everything.
I was like, this dude is a firecracker, and I am here for it. His introduction was like so good. And it was one of those introductions where you're either going to immediately love him or you're wrong. It's like, it's one of those two things. You're either going to love that character from the moment you see him, or you're just going to be wrong about it. And I mean, like I said, it was so good to see Michonne opening up to people. And like, he was trying to tell her, what was it? He told her to give him an hour at first. And then she was like, it's been an hour. Where's my horse? He said, you're going to need more than a horse, and I'm going to need more than an hour. And he literally starts laying things out for her. And he's like, hey, look, if you could just stay overnight, we can equip you. We can make sure you're proper out there so that you can last at least a little bit longer, because Nat thinks that her trying to go find Rick is a suicide mission. But the fact that she actually sat there and listened to them, it's like, I like this version of Michonne. She's not taking any chances, and she's actually really paying attention to what's around her. She's like, okay, you know what? I can't do this by myself. Maybe, and she's in an area that's completely unfamiliar to her. Okay, so let me listen to what they got to say. Let me see what they're trying to do, and I can just chill for one more night, because one more night at this point is not going to hurt.
And be a participant on Nat's Project Runway.
Let me tell you.
He sold him a fresh outfit overnight. That's all we needed.
He was like, we're not doing any, what did he say? We're not doing any clearance rack type stuff. We're going to give her custom armor, custom this. I'm going to show her how to use the scream sticks and blah, 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 blah. He was holding that tape measure like he was Edna Mode from The Incredibles. That was the vibe I was getting from him. I was like, oh, so he's the reason why she got the fresh armor.
Yep. As I said, Project Runway all the way.
I love that character. I'm so sad he is dead. I love that character. Like, when you get a character like that and he makes such an impression in just one episode, and we get that every once in a while with The Walking Dead. Like, they'll bring a character in, and the character they make their mark.
But I mean, the way they was advertising, you think these people was gonna stick around?
Well, but you know what? That's the draw you got to get people in. Like, hey, these people are instrumental in Michonne's finding Rick. But I think we have to remember that ultimately this is a Michonne and Rick story. So all of these other secondary characters, while it's great to see them in there and how they move the story along, that's really what they're here for. They're here to move her story, his story along.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I totally get that, but we can still have people, live and walk away after they help her. They don't have to.
But Nat at least did get to see them get together.
Yes.
He got to see the miracle.
At least he got to see.
Mm-hmm.
And then gave her some sage advice. Make sure he's still him, bitch.
Right. Okay.
Make sure he's still him. Because you see, she held back that information about RJ.
Okay, so I don't think she held that back, not because she was waiting to see. I think she did that because if Rick is going to try to get them out of there, especially the few clues that she has had just in the conversations with him about how hard it is for him to get out, and then what they told her in her own intake security of this place is top priority. So once you come in, you can never leave. You saw her face kind of do like this, and it's like she's putting some things together. I think she probably feels like if she tells Rick that piece of information, Rick is not going to be able to focus. He's going to be so worried about trying to get out that he may make a mistake. And right now, they can't afford any mistakes. Right. So I think at this point,
true, because as long as he knows Judith is alive,
right. Yeah. But if you find out you got a whole other child,
Michonne can't even say that for sure. She ain't.
That
is true. She don't know. I mean, she been signaling her, but she don't know. She hadn't heard back yet.
Right.
But at least I can put her under the good parent because she has been trying to contact her children.
Okay, you take back what you said
then. She trying.
Yeah.
But you got to take back what you said.
Right. And then she realized she need to get back home. So
and not only that. So when we first see Michonne, like we said, it's 6 years. So she literally had just left Alexandria. She probably had been on the road maybe a few months. The thing that kept her gone so long was the attack by the CRM with the chlorine gas. She literally had to recoup for a year. Because if you look at it, it was fall. She was looking out the window and there were leaves on the on that roof. Then it was winter. You had ice and snow. Then you see spring, no leaves, but you see it's sunny and green outside. And then again, you got fall. So she literally had to lay there in that mall, which I'm surprised that mall was intact. That mall still had supplies. The medical office behind it still had oxygen tanks. Nobody came up through there. But if the CRM was monitoring how close that place is, that's the reason why they bombed it. Because they're like, oh, this caravan, this huge caravan.
It's too close. It's too close to our perimeter.
Right. So I think that's why. So that's probably why nobody has even, checked in those places, because she was still bringing food in as, she and Nat were trying to recuperate. There were supplies. They had oxygen tanks, so, yeah, I mean, she had to sit there for a year because of what the CRM did. So I know that added to her being pissed off, not only that, but all of the people who were with them who died from the chlorine gas. And then her having to see, Elle, who again was pregnant, die from it. And then Bailey died from it. I know Michelle was like,
did he die from the gas or did he die from the girl?
I think he died
from the girl.
That's what I thought.
You think so?
No, the pillow. The pillow next to her.
And she said, do not lay next to her.
Yeah, and the pillow next to her was soaked with blood, and her mouth had blood. So she
And I thought that was coming from her, but now that you say that, because when Michonne said that to him, the way he looked like she's gonna die, I think that makes sense, because he looked like he wasn't gonna do that without her. And I couldn't really tell anything on him when he turned around.
He went to sleep and laid there with her, holding her, and she went to chewing them up.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about when Michonne came in and saw him at the counter trying to get to Nat. I wasn't paying attention to what he looked like because I was too busy crying. Like, they didn't have to die. They didn't have to die, even though, like I said, I expected it. But I was like, is Nat dead too? And then I thought back to the trailer. I said, no, because there are a couple of scenes that we've seen in the trailer that we haven't seen yet. So he's still alive.
Like,
but yeah, so yes, now we can kind of sort of cross Michonne off that list, because probably for her, if they had been able to get where they were going, they were close enough to the terminal that I think if she had gotten there and saw what she saw, she would have gone back home. She probably would have made it back before the rest of the crew got to the Commonwealth. If she hadn't have been delayed by the attack. But I know when that attack happened, when they heard the helicopters, all of them looking around like, what the hell? And then when they turned around.
Once he turned around and sat there for a minute,
I was like, we need to scatter.
Okay, you flew past us, and then, wait, you made a U-turn in the sky, and then you hovered. Why would you sit there? Why would you wait? You waiting to see?
Well, okay. I will look. I'll play on the opposite side. Maybe she thought that helicopter was coming to help because again, she has no knowledge of the CRM. She doesn't know what's going on in this part of the world.
But she do know that not everybody is fucking friendly.
That's true. But that's why when she looked,
who you dealing with,
yeah,
you don't just be like, "Hey, I'm right here." No,
but I mean, honestly,
it took them by surprise. It was
there really wasn't anywhere they could go.
It was quick. It was one of those things that was quick. Like, are we seeing what we're seeing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't believe this. Yeah. And then she had that bad feeling, and she saw it coming. She's like, "Scatter, let's go."
Yeah.
But by then it's too late.
It is.
It was gonna be too late regardless. Even if she had seen them and she scattered, I think if they were gonna scatter, the moment they heard the helicopter, they would have had to do that, and it still probably would have been too late because the helicopter saw them. That's the reason why it came around and turned around.
And then that chemical, so
yep, the chlorine gas. Okay, so let's talk about the CRM for a minute, because I've been thinking about different things since last week's episode. I've rewatched the episode. I've re-listened to our discussion on the first episode, and then I've listened to two other podcasts that we are friends with, Squawking Dead. I listened to their reaction video, and then to Kira and her crew with The Ones Who Live. Shout out to y'all. So I was listening to some of theirs, and I was just thinking about the CRM and the wider scope and the way that they are handling things as far as what they did with Omaha, and Okafor saying that the people in the red stripes, they go out and they do things, and now we know that they're killing people. But my question is, you see this little group, this caravan, they couldn't have had 100 people, okay? Mm-hmm. But you take them out. Granted, yes, they're getting close to where you are, but they could have been going a whole different direction, But you're so quick to take these people out. Mm-hmm. And it really made me think about the whole Commonwealth discussion that we've been having, the Commonwealth question we've been having about whether or not they know the Commonwealth is there, whether they were working with the Commonwealth. And I kind of sort of feel like maybe they do, but because one of the things about the Commonwealth is they are hidden. They don't advertise who they are. And even Max said something when she and Eugene were talking over the radio. She said, my people are real funny about newcomers and about outside information about us letting people know where we are. I'm starting to think that they probably do have ties to the CRM. And the only reason why they are allowed to stay the way they are is because they keep a tight rein on it. Because if you think about it, in this episode, when Michonne is brought to the CRM, they have an entrance committee just like the Commonwealth did, asking questions to determine whether or not she would be able to stay. It's too much of a coincidence to me. It's too similar.
And I'm gonna play the other side. Commonwealth poses no threat. That's another thing.
100 people in a caravan doesn't pose threat either.
Yes, it does.
No,
it does.
Because even if you have,
but you got to think about them. First of all, they go out. They have a perimeter set for just walking. Mm-hmm. They have that clear. They have another perimeter set around that. That's why those helicopters go out. They look for that perimeter. That group of people, the way they are moving, and they look at how the flow of that movement looks like it's heading their direction. Now, here's the issue.
100 people in a caravan is not a threat to a city of 200,000 with several thousand military.
The threat is different than what you're thinking. It's not a threat that they're going to come and overtake. Now, we got this issue that we're going to have. If they do find us, we don't want them to find us. When we stumble upon people and we collect them, we take them through this exam, either they're A or B, that's different. You can't do that with 100 people. Because one, if we collect these 100 people and we have to cipher through these 100 people, then we have to do some explaining of how some of them are leaving and never coming back. And some are staying. And these people are going to want to stick together. That is too much. Now, we can pick up 2 people together. We can pick up 3. We can pick up 1. But you pick up 100 people. Now, if it's me, you, and Anthony, and we're sitting there, we're one of the group of 100 people, and they're like, well, y'all go get on this helicopter, and those 10 gonna get on that helicopter, and then baby's going on that helicopter. I'm like, no, we're not gonna separate. We're not gonna want to separate. That's a lot of trying to maneuver that.
Kind of like
it's just easier
in Morgan's group.
It's just easier to kill them. I mean, that's harsh, but it's just easier to deal with the logistics of 100 people. Now, if it was the 4 of them, it may work or less. Because if they act stupid or, like he told her to act, then they'll be okay. But that's too much for 100. And over time, they know the direction they're heading is going to end up reaching them.
Because look at the motherfuckers they let in from Alexandria. And you see what the hell they did.
They don't know if they also going to try to contact their, we don't know what they had told people they were heading. It's just easier just to, like they did that cruise ship people, all those cruise ship people.
Yeah, and you know what? I was going to say, now that we see all of this, I see why Okafor was trying to change the CRM, because they are literally doing the exact thing that he betrayed his the government for.
Right.
They're doing the exact same thing.
Like, do I think they know about the Commonwealth? Yes, because it's the same way. They probably have a spy, like they had. Jadis was a spy. They had to. You see what I'm saying? So they actually have spies out there who is working, and like they're not moving. They're not doing anything creative or innovative around here. They having wrestling matches with ice cream sundaes. They're not trying to discover another place. I mean, seriously, they're not doing anything.
So why would they?
Right. They have internal conflict. They may not even last a year. We don't have to worry about them. Okay, they're not moving. Yeah. But a caravan of people, where they come from?
Where y'all going?
They get into the bridge too, where we got the burning bodies. Nope, we can't have this.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It does. It's sad though.
It's sad though.
Y'all
you
got to
process 100 people. No.
The world. That's the whole spiel y'all are giving about the CRM. What is it that Jadis always says? They are the light. They are the light of the world. How?
They're not
doing shit like that.
Because those people had kids. It could have been kids in there and everything.
They don't know who was down there.
No, they don't. They didn't care.
And they did not care. Because you saw remember the extensive questioning that Yumikio and Eugene went through just to get to the Commonwealth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So just imagine trying to do that for 100 people. Imagine trying to do that for 10 people.
But look, here's the thing: the Commonwealth did it for our group, for all of them.
That's different.
Yeah.
But Commonwealth ain't as big. Commonwealth don't have an army.
No. Commonwealth haven't come up with that strategy of get rid of your leaders and just keep followers.
Yeah. And I was thinking about that too, Casey, as far as why Commonwealth wouldn't be a threat. Because like I said, I've been thinking about like a whole bunch of stuff with this. And I thought about it, I said, okay, Commonwealth, they have some good numbers. They have soldiers, but they don't have the tanks. Or actually, I think they did have a tank or two. Or they had like some smaller military vehicles, but they don't have helicopters. And the CRM seems to have plenty of them.
Of helicopters. Yeah, they do.
Because the CRM used to be the Pennsylvania National Guard. So they would have access.
They got everything.
Yeah, they would have access to that. So I've just been thinking about that, like back and forth about the Commonwealth and about the other times that we've seen the CRM. The other thing that I thought about from the last episode that I realized when I did my rewatch, that that open area, that bombed out open area that Okafor took Thorne and Rick to kind of recruit them, that's the field that he bombed.
Yeah, we said that.
Yeah. That's the field that he bombed with his wife in it. And I think that's why he goes there, like to remind himself, okay, this is what I got to do.
Yeah. And but I thought we talked about that because that's also where he gets the dog tags
that are hanging in his.
Oh, okay. We may have talked about that off camera.
Okay, yeah, because yes, that's where he bombs everyone, and then when he goes, every time he kills one, he takes their dog tag, and that's what's hanging in his room.
Okay. Okay. CRM is just fucked up. But
and the thing is, they don't even really need to add people because you have enough people and they're reproducing.
Yeah.
So the caravan means nothing.
Which is sad. Because these people wanted out because they didn't like the way things were run where they were.
Yeah, and they end up dying when they could just stay with the other group.
Right.
Which is sad.
It is. It is. And then, Michonne is going to feel guilt about it.
Yeah.
Especially with Elle, because she tried to tell them to go back. She was like, go back. Take some of the people with you and go back.
Or go to my home. I got,
Right.
Nope.
The CRM is just, how are you supposed to be about saving the world? And I understand the whole thing about, I understand, that you're protecting the city secret and all that. But even the way they have it set up, you have the consignees on the outskirts. The city is across a body of water. So even if they came close and saw, okay, we got this community here, whatever, if they say, oh, y'all can't come in, what they gonna do? Force their way in against people with guns and all this other stuff? No, they could have or they could have gone to a whole different direction. Like I said, if they had made it to Bridges Terminal and saw what happened, they probably been like, you know what? We didn't sign up for this. We taking our ass home.
But you know what? Technically, all they need is a cooler.
That is so true. That is so true.
No, because Jenny is a child and she probably could. Let's not do that. We're not.
But you have to have. That's like we talked about with Negan and the rules he had and why he did. You have to do it to keep everything in check. Because even if those people cannot fight their way over but they know, and then knowing is the power, and then you don't know, they don't know. I don't think they have flown over the whole United States to know if there's another, another group, another group could have formed in California. We don't know, or in Mexico and traveled. So you got to be like, no one needs to know.
And
I will say
your own allies don't even know where you are if they need protection and want to head there and live. They have no idea.
And we all know that knowing is dangerous because Victor showed Tracy where Padre is. Look how that ended.
But there was a whole personal grudge.
There's
with that.
A precedence.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Speaking of which, I will say this. I think David mentioned this on Squawking Dead podcast because they were also talking about maps and timelines, and they kind of had some of the same discussions. But on one of the maps, he said that if you look at the area in Texas, they actually have it marked off on the map that it's irradiated. And I was like, oh, so they've been over there. They've been down there. But
because they were close when because they were already over there when they took, I forgot her name.
Isabella.
Al had a run in with the CRM.
Yeah.
So they would know.
So they go down there.
I don't know if I feel like they would have continued to go down there because once Isabel disappeared, I don't know.
They still got to do recon. So they're doing recon. But you'll know what they have covered. They may have flown to a certain point and said, okay, there's radiation. Let's see how far it goes. Now, do you think they've been to Hawaii? No. Alaska? No. Seattle?
But you know what? Well, I mean, if they've gone as far as Portland, they probably have been to Seattle.
Now, Florida, and I'm talking about Miami, probably not.
No.
But could.
I don't know.
They didn't go to New York.
We know what New York looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because somebody would have saw some helicopters.
New York has the same moat around it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So nobody realizes that there is an actual like community.
The same way everybody else thinks. They knocked all the bridges down. Nope, ain't nobody in there.
Right.
Except for a whole bunch of dead people.
Right. So we don't even need to do recon.
Dead, so there would be no reason to go to New York.
It wouldn't be.
None.
Yeah. But I guess I would figure, Michelle, you were talking about whether or not they've gone to like Alaska or Hawaii or something. I wonder if they have explored outside of the continental US, because again, unless you have like the radios and you have the communications and you were getting those kind of communications before everything like completely shut down, you don't even know if this has happened anywhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't know that France is in the same condition, or that Mexico is part of the it's part of the continent. So you probably can figure that out. But like Alaska is on its own little thing. Hawaii on its own little thing. You think about all the other countries that are islands, like Japan, like you don't know what's going on in those countries. So I wonder if they've thought about it, or if they've tried, or if maybe they just figured that since nobody has come to help, they just figured everybody else.
Yeah, or even on communication. So like, especially with spoiler if you haven't seen The Quiet Place 1, like the dad was trying to get communications from other places and using what he put together to hear, and they probably have that equipment to try to do comms to other entities. And if no one is answering, that literally says we're in the same.
Right.
Because somebody would have contacted and said, hey, y'all need some help. Like, we can't come over right away, but we can drop supplies.
Yeah.
No one is responding.
Yeah. CRM, man. Let me tell you. Just.
Yeah.
Oh, and okay. I'm trying to think, do I want to go there or do I want to go back? Okay, no, let's finish talking about Nat and all the people and stuff, because again, like, I'm loving what this series is doing as far as introducing us to characters that we immediately feel connected to, that we immediately care about.
Right before they kill them off.
I know. And you know what? I'm starting to realize that if we have characters that we do connect with that quickly, that should be our telltale sign that right. Because if you think about it, okay, got to go back to Dead City again. We had the tribes people, we had them for several episodes, and we just didn't care. We didn't like. I went back when I was prepping for our Walking Dead panels at ATL Comic Convention. I went back and listened to all of the episodes that we did for Dead City. And one of the things that we were consistent about from episode whatever to the end was that we did not trust Amaya and Tommaso. Like, we really thought that Amaya, at some point, I think we thought Amaya was the mole. And then we were like, well, it could either be her or it could be Tommaso, but neither one of them is feeling kind of, right. And then I think the episode right before we found out it was Tommaso, we all were like, yeah, it's him. It's got to be him because he's shady. But it's like that whole time, we didn't care about any of them. Even Amaya, I will say, I was kind of sort of like, okay, maybe I can start liking her. No, because as soon as I thought that,
I don't think with Dead City, they gave us enough. Like, for the two people that she helped that came from the end of where she picked, we picking up where they left off. We at least had some minor connection to them, like, oh, she's going to help some people. So there was a little time to draw out who they were and how we're connected. And then once you hear their little story, oh, your sister left you pregnant, and now you want to help her find her man.
And he went and he went to go
look
for
honey for her because
I was craving honey.
I was like, I was sitting there listening to that story. I was just like, he's gonna die. They're gonna die.
Yeah. They were Aiden and Bailey.
Too sweet.
But the ones on Dead City, we didn't
get any.
We didn't get nothing that would make us be like emotionally connected to them. Like,
right.
Oh, y'all
and
just
then they were like, oh yeah, your sister. That whole rules is not great, and other people, and we love your story. We want to help you too.
Yeah. So it didn't give us that. Dead City people didn't give us that at all.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, we'll go help you too. Except for Lucy's ass.
Yeah.
The one who saw the light and they killed him all.
And the other thing too, I think is, so if you watch the episode Insider after the episode where Scott M. Gimple is talking about the process of creating these stories, he's very, very open about the fact that he, Andy, and Denai all had their hand in this story. They wanted to make sure,
a difference.
Yes, it does. It really does. Because you have the people who play these characters and they know how the characters will react.
Right.
Yeah. And they know what we're looking for.
Right.
They know it's a process to get there. They're not rushing the process. They're not jumbling up, adding all this extra unnecessary shit to the process. At the end of the day, we know it was about her getting to him and then them getting home.
Yep.
And that's as long as they stick to that, it's gonna be great.
Right.
Apparently, we only got 4 more episodes, but if they stick with that, yes, you'll have these minor factors that you got to wrap up, because that's basically what you wrapping up. Little Walking Dead dead ends. Jadis, if we see the other characters that we think we may see, this is a wrap up of that. So it's gonna be a nice little bow. And what better way than have the characters who play these people help tell that story than somebody writing, oh, I think people like this. No, they done heard the talk over the last 4 years since they've been gone. Are y'all gonna do this? Are y'all gonna do that? So I'm sure all of that is playing a part into it.
Right.
Because like Denai says in her interviews, her sister told her to go back and finish. So I'm sure, those people close, they're like, what's gonna happen? Is they gonna make it home? So you can't write shitty story that's gonna be like, oh, this. No, we need something that's gonna be like, that was worth waiting 6 years.
Yeah. And then
what I'm saying? And they're doing a real good job of it. Like they are doing a real good job. Where they cut it off at, where the cliffhangers is happening, like they doing a real good job. Because the way they ended the last episode and then the way they ended this. Excellent job.
And then also Andy's mom is like a huge Michonne fan. Like when he told her that they were finally putting them together, or when he found out that they were finally putting them together, he said when he read the script, the first thing he thought was, oh my God, my mom is going to be so happy, because his mom had been wanting them to get together. So I mean, it really does make a difference, because they care about the characters. They know we care about the characters, and they want the story done right. Not saying that the people from the other shows didn't. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that Lauren and Jeffrey did not have certain things that they had for their characters, and I'm sure they had a lot of input. I just think I was thinking about that too, about how we've been talking about how Maggie's like doubling down on her anger didn't really make sense the way that they portrayed it in Dead City, because it's like, how do you go from where you were in The Walking Dead to where you are in Dead City? And I really am thinking it's guilt that she's feeling. Like she sees the changes that he's making, and she's trying to reconcile herself to that. And I think she feels guilty because she's starting to look at him as something other than a piece of shit.
Right.
And it's just making her angry. But that's a whole other conversation.
Right. And then the writers is forcing things to be a certain way. So here, this is organic.
Organic.
It's more organic than the other.
Yeah.
Way more.
Yeah. Like you don't have to, like, we already knew that something had to happen for Rick never to make it home. Yeah. And we have shown that he has tried several times. Cut off his own hand to do it.
Right.
Then
that ain't trying to make it home, baby.
That's trying to make it, and things happen. You can tell with her trying to find him, and then you get caught up in the mall for a year.
Right.
Like things happen, and that's natural due to the CRM, which now push you further to, like my phrase, burn it to the ground. But we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. I do want to talk about Nat a little bit more, our new favorite character. I love his little backstory that he gave us. The backstory about him and his mom, because how does he start it off? He talks about the fact that he only really likes 3 people, and that's Elle, Bailey, and now Michonne. And he was like, I like you, I like them, I like you, and I don't like the fact that a third of the people that I like are going to be, leaving, no matter how short the acquaintance. But you can tell that he and Michonne like really connected. He really felt drawn to her. But when Michonne decides to leave after she has been outfitted, after she has been given weapons and a horse, she goes to this field and she sees this huge horde, which they mentioned at the beginning of the episode. They talked about the migration, because when she said she was going north, they were like, you don't want to do that right now. Wait until the migration is over. And she was like, what's the migration? So Bailey was saying, there were millions of people in this area when everything went down. So all of these dead people that are walking, for some reason, they go south. And then when it starts getting, I guess, colder or whatever, they go north, which I was like, don't you think that's something the CRM would want to study? Because they had people tracking migration patterns of the walkers. But anyway, I digress. So
but they maybe are studying them. We don't know.
You could be correct, because I did notice.
I just put a tag on them like they do cows, and
if you look at the back of that group, you can see a city in the outlined in the distance. I don't know if that's Philadelphia or if it's another city, but you can kind of see like the buildings and the skyline in the distance. But when she gets to this crowd, she pulls out this weapon that Nat has apparently created. And that's the thing about him. He creates these weapons and all of these things, very technologically savvy. And it's the scream sticks that she was talking about. And what happens is when she shoots this thing off, it makes a whirring noise that the walkers hear and they follow it. And, there's an explosion. Now, the problem is there is a gas man in the middle of this. This was apparently a person who walked around carrying gas, like maybe from the beginning of times. And he has, of course, died, but he is still walking around with these gas cans. And he is on fire.
It's amazing.
And he is on fire. Well, you saw how he was walking. He was struggling. So he was like taking baby steps compared to the way the other walkers walk. But he's on fire, and Michonne is getting ready to put a scream stick towards a different direction. She happens to see this thing walking towards her. He explodes because, again, he's carrying gas cans, which, why we can't ever find gas like that when our folks are out scavenging. But anyway.
But what the gas be no good?
At this point, it's probably better than nothing.
At this point, it's nothing.
It's better than nothing. But he blows up and his head shoots off and hits Michonne in the shoulder and knocks her off her horse. I said, I can't remember the last time I saw Michonne being laid flat on her ass.
They had to give us one.
They did. But because of that little incident, the walkers, they start turning back towards Michonne because they've heard the commotion. Of course, they've heard the explosion. So now they're turning around. And as she's getting ready, like she is looking like, God damn it, I'm gonna have to fight through all of these things. Like, but the look of determination she had on her face, she pulled that sword out. She was like, okay, this is what I gotta do.
Let's get
I gotta do it. And then all of a sudden you see a purple explosion over here and a purple explosion over here. And the walkers start parting like the Red Sea. I was like, that was a cool visual. Because you don't ever see the walkers like just like that clean.
Yeah.
Straight down the middle. It was a nice thing to see. And then of course she turns around when she got knocked off the horse. Of course the horse ran off, but here comes Elle and Bailey with the horse, and there's Nat standing on top of the truck, and there's other trucks and other people. And this is when they were like, yeah, you kind of talked some sense into us, you know. We thought about what you said. We don't want to be the people who leave other people behind, and they felt the same way. So we're all here. It's a good thing we weren't looking for you, huh? Because if they hadn't been looking for her, she'd have been. I mean, Michonne is good. She is good. I don't know if she is. I can cut through millions of walkers. Good. I don't think anybody.
That's suicide.
That is definitely suicide.
Because that's not gonna.
Definitely, because you're gonna get tired at some point.
Yeah, right. And they're gonna overtake you.
So easily.
Yep. So this is where we start finding out a little bit more about Nat, because as they're camped out overnight, they have a little discussion around a campfire, and Nat talks about the end of the world, and you know, how he can build things and he can burn down things. And then we find him elaborating about that a little bit later when Michonne asked him, she was like, so there has to be other people that you liked. And he was like, yeah. He said, it was me and my mom for a while. You know, my dad was never in the picture. Stupid asshole didn't want a little person. I was like, do you know people like that exist? So he starts talking about how he was angry and he was a kid that liked to set things on fire. He set things on fire in the forest. Did you see the look Michonne gave him when he said that? He was like, I used to burn things down. She was like, what? But he talked about it. He used to set things on fire in the forest. And then one day, this guy comes into him and his mom's life, this guy named Danger. And he said, you know, he looked at this woman who works 14 shitty hours in a chicken factory, and this kid who has issues and didn't like him from jumping. He was like, hell yeah, this is what I'm doing. So he says that when Danger married his mom, he started needing Nat to do things for him. Like he had a bum shoulder. He couldn't load his truck. So Nat created a lift and pulley from stuff that was in the garage. He created a timer so that Danger wouldn't forget to turn the sink off, or would be reminded not to, that he left the stove on. And he said he started thinking, did he really need me for those things? Or was he just trying to focus me so that I could learn that I could create stuff instead of destroy stuff? And I thought it was such a sweet story, to talk about his beginnings, because one of the things you do see with him in this episode is that he has a lighter and he's always flicking the lighter. It's almost like it's something to center him and to kind of comfort him. But I thought that story was so sweet. And then I was like, that was further proof for me. I was like,
he gonna
die. Because they're giving us these really nice backstories to these people, like Ellie talking about her pregnancy cravings and how Bailey went to go look for the honey, and that's how he twisted his ankle, and she went to go look for him. And I was like, another sweet story. Not only a sweet story, a love story. I was like, yeah, they're gonna die.
No, what did they say? What did we say early in the beginning? As soon as you have some hope, your ass gonna die. That's how you die.
Yeah.
Hope is a killer.
You know what? I'm gonna need you to not take Anthony's phrase. I need you to not take it.
Mm.
But it's but yeah, so we get that little tidbit from that, and then like we said, the CRM helicopter comes over, sees them, drops the chlorine gas, and of course the majority of the people die because they are literally in the midst of where the gas is dropped. Like it hits them first. The people who are towards the front, Michonne, Nat, L, Bailey, they're all up front. They have time to actually cover their mouths and like try to get away from the gas, but of course it still does affect them. They do still inhale it in. Of course, L dies, and then like we said, Bailey dies. Nat and Michonne, they have to hole up in that mall for about a year to recover because their throats and their lungs have been burned, and like they can't. Michonne can't even do one push-up without going into a coughing fit. You know, they can't. It's horrible, and you know she's sitting there like, I need to get back to my kids. But at this point, if she tries to go out now, she wouldn't even survive. She's look. They did what Madison should have done, because Madison out there with her oxygen tank still fighting and still being mad and stuff. Michonne was like, "Nope, we're gonna sit our ass right here.
I'm going to recover all the way."
Right. Because I'm no good to I'm no good to my kids or Rick if I'm dead.
Nope.
And she tries to send Nat to Alexandria once they recover. She's like, "Look, here's a map. I've marked all of these things. Go to Alexandria. Go to my home." And he was like, "So I'm going to your home, and you're still going to go to Bridges Terminal. That doesn't seem right. Seems like that should be opposite." And she was like, "I'm not giving up. I'm still going to go find him. You need to go." And he was like, "No, I'm not going. You are all I have left. That's it. I have nothing else." So even though he is so apprehensive about it, even though he has voiced his doubts about the fact that they're going to find Rick alive, he still goes with Michonne. He's able to salvage some of his stuff from the wagon. They find a walker. Michonne does what she does best. She takes the jaw, takes the arms, and has the walker pull it over. Because it was so funny. She was like, "You expect me to pull the wagon?" He was like, "Yes." Michonne was like,
"I already knew what was going to happen. I already knew what was about to happen."
She's like, "What we not going to do? Because remember, I've been sitting here recovering for a year too. I'm not trying to pull this thing and be out of breath." So she finds a walker, ties it to the wagon. The walker follows them around. They finally make it up to Bridges Terminal. And of course, we see it is not just abandoned. The cruise ship that we have seen in the trailers
is done.
It's done. It clearly has been attacked, whatever. And then she turns to the side, and there are piles and piles of burned bodies. And I think the thing that really made me heartbroken, even though I knew that Rick was alive, watching her look through all of those piles to see if she could recognize anything about him broke my heart. Because we know he's alive and he's well. She doesn't.
She doesn't.
And it was just so heartbreaking because she's sitting there and she's like painstakingly looking to see if she can see any features. And that night,
ain't nobody got on shoes. So
that's what Nat said. He was like, half of them, he said, most of them don't have shoes on because she's holding the boots and she's crying. She was like, this is the point where she starts to feel like she has to give up. She was like, it was staring at me in the face the whole time. Like she was holding on to so much hope.
I know,
and now she feels defeated.
That's my first breakdown.
And then Nat, even though Nat felt like this was over, he was still trying to give her hope because he tells her what the Japanese writing is on the phone that she has of Rick's, and it says, believe just a bit longer, or just a while longer. And she was like, "You've been telling me to go home this whole time." He said, "And I'm still telling you to go home, but what I'm saying is you can still have faith and believe that he is alive. It may, I think he was trying to say to her, it may be just that you aren't meant to find him."
Right. And just
But
go
you
home.
need to go to your kids. It's been too long. At this point, it's been over a year. It's like, you need to go home to your kids. You can still have hope and still believe that he is out there and still go home. It doesn't mean that you fail, and it doesn't make you a bad person. But at
it's
this
very
point, what is it that he kept saying? You have to know when to go.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, it's very similar to last week with I forgot who was talking to Rick about, it's okay. You can fight for them here. You don't need to go home. They're there. They're okay. And you're fighting for them here. Basically the same thing.
Yeah.
You could go home and still believe that he's alive.
Right.
And then honestly, if he was alive, he would have tried to come home. But that's
what she said. She was like, if he was out there, he would have made it home. Of course, she has no idea of what could be out there keeping him.
Right. What hell he has to endure.
Yeah, but she knows Rick would not have stayed away from them this long if he was still alive. Or at least that's what she feels. So at this point, she has decided to go home. And we see her and Nat actually going home. So they are leaving the area. She's still trying Judith on the walkie-talkie, and Nat is like, okay, well, we'll be in range soon. First of all, I gotta say how impressed I am that this walkie-talkie radio has lasted over a year, because I work with those things at my old job, and when I tell you, the battery life on them shits is bad.
It's bad because I use it every day. And if I don't put that walkie-talkie on the charger, it is not ready for dismissal the next day. I'm just saying.
So I understand she's like turning it on, turning it off. But even when you don't use it for a long time
and you turn it off, it is not coming back on.
The battery is gonna die. I mean, but we said the same thing with the Rick and Morgan walkie-talkies too. Like, there's no way, Morgan, you had to understand that was not going to be feasible after a certain point.
Yeah.
But while they're walking, Nat hears a helicopter, and he looks through his little scope that he has, and he's like, it's them. He's like, cut that thing loose, talking about the walker, bring the wagon. And Michonne was like, I'm not about to run from them. He was like, oh, I'm not either. Come on. Let me tell you, this Nat, this is another reason why I am upset that his character has been killed. Do you know what greatness he could be put to in the Commonwealth, in Alexander? We need somebody like him in this world. So he has this little scope thing. He has this weapon with all of the little scream sticks. And he has fashioned himself a tripod so he can hold his arm steady. And I really like the fact that he blew that helicopter out of the sky. I am very impressed, because again, when we were talking about it last week, we were like, okay, so did the CRM do this because they heard Okafor talking? They knew he was doing, like, we really thought it was something more sinister. No, it's two people pissed off because their friends got killed. And they were like, we're finna shoot your ass down. And the first one that he shot didn't hit, or at least for him, didn't hit.
It was a dud.
He was like, it was a dud. I was like, no, dude.
Like, no, it wasn't.
It was not. It was definitely not a dud.
It wasn't a dud.
It had the result that you wanted. You just didn't get to see it.
Yeah.
But we see him hit the tail of the helicopter. He hits the side of it, and then it goes down. And then you see it from their point of view when Rick and his crew come out. He aims one of the scream sticks towards them, and we see two of the soldiers kind of go up in the air and fall. So it was 5 of them who survived the plane crash. So you see the 2 get hit by the thing, they fall down. And then you see him shoot another one. This is when the other 3 kind of get scattered. And then you see Michonne go, and you get to see it from her point of view. So yes, she very definitely took the helmets off of them. She looked them in the eyes as she was killing them. So I was like, oh yes, this is personal. Yeah. And she made sure y'all knew this was personal. The second one that she went to, she was like, look at me. I was like, oh, y'all done pissed this chick off.
Mm-hmm.
So then she gets to Rick. And of course, we saw what happened last week. She tries to swing at him. His hand, his prosthetic stops it. She pulls the mask off and she sees it's him. And then we get the like
best kiss ever.
Yes.
Because the way he looks at her at first, when we see her point of view when she's crying, taking her mask off, but you see him like from the back view, but his hand goes over his face, like, you know how Rick does this thing where he like holds his nose and he's just like, oh my God. And he just looks at her and he gets up and he walks to her and they hug. And she was like, I found you. And they kiss. And he was like, is Judith okay? Judith is okay.
And then what's the next thing out of his mouth? I'm not with him.
I'm not with him.
I want you to know, baby.
Baby, right. I don't want this
to
be a conversation later. I need you to know right now, whatever you're thinking, right. I'm not with him.
But this is what I love about it. After all of these years apart, her seeing Rick for the first time in 7 years, her seeing him in a helicopter with people that killed other people. She never hesitates. She never doubts him. And like, even in the rest of the scenes that we see with them throughout, like when he's telling her, they're coming, I need you to not show them who you are. You can't show them that you're strong. You can't show them that you're a leader. You got to lie about who you are. You can't say, he's telling her all of this stuff to say, and never once, because think about it. If this was another show, if this was another series, no, you got to tell me what's going on. No, Michonne didn't question it. Immediately, we see they still have that trust in each other. They still have that bond, and they still like, okay, look, you telling me to do this? I don't understand it, but I'm going to do it without question. I fucking loved that. Because I know we've been talking about it, how they might try to introduce like maybe a little bit of conflict there, because Michonne's going to be pissed because she's going to be like, you've been out here all this time.
Correct.
He might have been like, you left my child to come look for me. We thought it was going to be a little bit of tension. No, they are so happy to see each other. And it's like immediately fall back into where they were. Rick and Michonne against the world, talking to each other. Here's the plan. This is what we got to do. Hey, I got to train my gun on you. You got to put your hands in the air. They have to see it. But, oh, I love you. And then puts his gun on her so that they can get captured by the CRM, because, I forgot to mention, one of those first two soldiers that got knocked out apparently wasn't dead. So once Nat actually sees Rick and Michonne, he was like, oh my God. And she was like, hey, he's not with him. And he was about to ask a question, and then he gets shot because this motherfucking soldier in the back is still alive. And as Michonne is sitting there tending to him, Rick takes Michonne's sword and he goes and kills the soldier. And I love it. He was like, Nat asked her, he said, are you sure? Are you sure he's the same? Are you sure it's him? And she was like, yes, I'm sure. And he was like, good. See, you can still believe. And then he dies. And I'm just sitting on my couch, just like, I don't know why I acted like I wasn't expecting it. I don't think I was expecting it in that moment.
So soon.
But I mean, it's just like Okafor. Like we weren't expecting Okafor's death and violence with which he was killed. But it was just like you said, the fact that he got to see that he was like, okay, you know what? We didn't do all of this in vain. Right. All of our other people didn't die in vain. You know what I'm saying? And it's different with this. And again, I'm going back to Dead City, because Maggie at that point was willing to risk anybody to save her son. Michonne was not. Michonne was trying to send folks back. Go back. Here, you go to Alexandria. I will tell you what to say. Go, because she didn't want. I don't even think it was selfish about. She didn't want that on her conscience. She didn't want those people to be out there putting themselves at risk if they didn't need to.
Correct, and there's the difference.
And they did what they needed to do to help her. They made her armor. They helped her. They helped her part that hurt. They gave her a
That's
horse.
all because you were honest and you
Right.
didn't want to get people involved and you told them what your goal was.
Mm-hmm.
Maggie wants to get people involved to help her complete her goal, and she don't care what happens to them.
But Michonne was like, look, y'all have helped me enough. Go back. And they're like, no, we're gonna go back once we and I love that Elle was like, she was like, I'll leave when I see you reunited with Rick. I want to be there when I want to see your face when you reunite with him. And I thought that was so sweet, especially in this type of world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you have people who are so self-centered, so selfish, so they have an agenda. And you see with these people that Michonne has met, thankfully she met some people who didn't have an agenda, except for the head bitch in charge. And you saw when Michonne was like, I want to be a part of this. Y'all leave people behind. That was your sister. And you left her behind. You think I want to be a part of this? You think I want to bring my kids to be a part of this? Bitch, please.
Hell no.
But the fact that we got to see people who had that kind of pure heart, who were like, oh, okay, you know what? She did say that this was wrong. And even they admitted, they were like, well, we're still here because we're scared. We're still here because there's nothing else. And Elle probably felt, obligated to her sister. But once somebody came and told them, hey, you know what? This is not right. And y'all don't have to stay here for it. They actually listened and was like, hey, okay, we're going to go. Now, I know we're going to talk about this later on down the road. We're always talking about how when our people get somewhere, things fall, things, whatever. And it's usually because they don't listen, which in this case, too, you can kind of sort of say they didn't listen, but they didn't expect a helicopter to show up and drop chlorine gas on them either.
They did not.
Because if they've been traveling in this caravan the way that they have forever, that was not a small caravan like the whole community. Because when we saw them in Michonne's last episode, they had to have had hundreds. Mm-hmm. So, the CRM has to be aware of them, even if they're not making themselves aware, because, again, that caravan that was with Michonne, they were looking at the helicopter like that's the first time they've seen a helicopter since the end of days.
Right.
So, and that's the other thing that always confused me about the CRM, because you have some people like Jadis, like Rick, who have seen the helicopter several times. And then you have other people like, I was looking at one of Rick's episodes, the last one where he saw the helicopter flying over where they were in Alexandria. I was like, so nobody else in the community heard the helicopter and came out like, Rick, what was that? I thought the same thing when Jadis was on watch and she saw the helicopter. Like, nobody else hears this helicopter?
We later found out Jadis knew everything about the helicopter, but
well, yeah. But yeah, so they have this reunion. Rick gives Michonne the details, the details to stay alive. He was like, look, you cannot tell them, we can't act like we know each other. You have to be a stranger. You can't say who you are. He was like, do you have anything on you that will say that will tell them anything about who you are or about Alexandria? And she was like, I have a journal, I have this, I have that, I have your boots. He was looking at her like, my boots, like
my boots.
Wow,
like for real, right. My boots.
Right. But she goes along with it. She gets in front of this committee or this panel, and they're asking her questions about who she was, and she gives them the story. She was like, my name is Dana. She was like, I've been out on my own for a long time. She was like, this is the first time it's strange to hear my own voice. And I was in, she told them some half truths, but she gave them some good information. She was like, I was in Georgia with my boyfriend for a long time, and we were with these people, and they didn't appear to be who they were supposed to be. And, she was like, I was with my sister and blah, blah, blah. And she was like, this is the kind of thing I'm looking for. And they were like, they're asking her the question. She's throwing in everybody's phrases. Like, she's throwing in some of the stuff that Nat said. Like, these leaders, they weren't what I wanted, and they weren't what I was expecting. Sometimes you got to know when to leave. And they were like, so the safety of this place is top priority, so you can never leave. How do you feel about that? She was like, well, I think that what's here for me in this community
I came for what's
it's
mine.
just what I've been looking for.
I came for what's mine.
And just to clarify, I just realized something, because she said her sister, we're saying Ale, her sister was Ale. Aiden is with Bailey.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember. Okay.
Yeah, because I just rewatched the part when she was talking about Ale. I'm like, oh, she said Ale when she talked about her sister.
Okay.
She had a sister.
Okay. So yeah, so she gives these answers, and then the next thing we see is her walking around, and she's freshly clothed, and she has on a CRM jacket.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, here comes Casey's next cosplay. And she's walking around, and she gets ready to go into this little area, and a CRM soldier comes up behind her and just kind of grabs her arm and pulls her in.
Immediately started smiling like,
I was like, hey, Rick. He pulls her in. She's looking around. He just grabs her. He kisses her. And he was just like, you're here. And she was like, I found you. And he was like, oh, when they was kissing, I think she had moved her arm down, and that's when she realized he didn't have a hand anymore. So she looking like, what the fuck? He was like, yeah, this was one of the last times I tried to escape. She was like, one of the last times. And he just looked at her. He was like, they had me trapped. I'm not trapped anymore. I was like, yeah, because his boo thing found him. He was like, oh no, if she could find me, there's a way for me to get out of here. And that's what he's telling. He was like, look, I'm gonna find a way for us to get out. He was like, but Judith, she's okay. She was like, yeah, she's okay. She said and then she stops and she has this look like, oh shit, I gotta tell him.
He doesn't know it. Right. He doesn't know he has a son.
He was like, what's wrong? Is Judith? She said, no, Judith is us. That's all she had to say. Judith is us. Judith
he was okay with that.
Yeah. But she was like, the rest I will tell you when we get out of here. And like I said, I felt like, at first, me too, I was like, tell me as a son. And then when she said that, I immediately, I felt peaceful. I was like, okay, you know what? That is the smart move, because Michonne knows how off the rails Rick will go when it comes to his children and when he's emotional.
And especially if he done already cut off one hand.
Right.
Yeah. And he's not going to think clearly. So I need this man to think clearly.
Right. Because we got to get out of here. We got to get back to our children.
Mm-hmm.
And so then she starts asking him questions about, and she was like, these people are killing people. She was like, did you have to? He was like, nope, no. He said, but I knew. He said, they have soldiers that leave out of here, the ones in the blood red. And I knew they were doing stuff, but he was like, there was nothing I could do. They had me trapped, And she said, can we stop them? And the first, when Rick said no, she was looking at him like, excuse me, we stop a whole bunch of stuff. Rick was honest. Rick was like, no. And I think also too, Rick probably has had some time to think about, oh, this is what Okafor was talking about. This is why Okafor wanted me,
Mm-hmm.
But she was like, can we at least try? And he was like, we'll never make it out of here. And I know for Rick is like, I got to get back to my child. So
if nothing else, her finding him, because remember he had given resolve that this is what my life is going to be. Her finding him, all that shit went out the window.
Right. He was like,
same way, her resolve about, okay, I'm going to go home. It's like at the point where they both was like, shit, it is what it is at this point. It's just going to be what it is. I'm going to go and live my life and take care of my kids. He's like, I'm going to do whatever the hell they need me to do so that my family stays safe. This is when we find each other.
Yeah. But
now, both plans that we have are now out the window, and we got to come up with something new.
Mm-hmm. But how people always say when you're trying to achieve something, you're trying to get something, when you try too hard, it keeps eluding you. But when you kind of sit back and let things fall into place.
Yep.
When you trust the process, if you're religious, if you trust God, if you are not religious, if you trust that things will work out, if you trust whatever your higher power is or whatever you believe in, just let it go.
And that's what
trust that things will work out. And that's exactly what happened with both of them. And now they're together.
Yes, but with two different plans. I'm sorry, 2 different plans.
Very different.
Yeah, because Michonne, when she's walking around and she climbs up and she kind of looks around.
No, go back. I saw the switch when she asked about, can we stop them? He said no. Can we try? That's a no. We wouldn't make it. And here's your friend. He should have lived. They all should have lived. And he looking, and she's like, okay, I'll give you the little pep talk. We're together. Love you, boo. We're together, and we're going to make it out. But the look on her face was,
I'm going to burn this shit down
ground
first. Yeah. Which, okay.
But I need to give him a pep talk. I got to give my man a pep talk because he's looking a little shaky here. He's looking a little shaky.
That man's like, look, I got my woman.
Right, he is.
He's not.
She got to flip the switch because she got to
forget him. He's gonna do anything he can to get her out. He ain't even worried about himself at this point. Right. He is gonna do everything to get her out. Even if he don't make it, he would be resolved enough to admit you found me. But he is gonna make sure, especially now he know his daughter. Okay, oh no, you got to go.
Yeah.
Whatever that looked like, you up out of here.
Right.
Because you already know he gonna sacrifice himself. He don't give a fuck.
Right. Because she about to pep talk him to we making some changes.
That is one we mess person everybody he cannot up. Die. He cannot die.
Right. Oh no, he ain't gonna die. But I'm just saying.
But every time we go somewhere, we mess things up. Come on now. Get on board with me.
She gonna bring back bearded Rick.
Yeah.
Remember he had that beard and was Root? That's who the hell she gonna bring the fuck back out. She gonna bring back bearded Rick.
Yeah.
And then them 2 motherfuckers can't
bring No. She's not gonna be the one to bring back bearded Rick. Let me tell you who finna bring that motherfucker back out. Jadis. Because so when they showed that shoulder looking at Michonne's video, I said, God damn it, that's Jadis. I said, that's Jadis. Jadis about to throw a wrench into all of this.
Because that would be the only one who knows who the fuck Michonne is.
Yes.
She lets herself into Rick's apartment.
Yeah.
She's like, it's been a while. You look good. I was like, you know what? Whatever you got on your mind, you already tried that. I sleep with him when this is done over. Michonne threatened to cut your ass the first time. Don't pull that shit now. She's sitting there like, being out in the world, you're bound to run into people that you know. Every once in a while, it happens. She was like, but the fact that she found you, she's the only person who can do that. And you saw Rick was looking at her like,
bitch, try it.
Bitch. And then when she said, I just need you to understand that if you try to leave with her, I will make sure that everyone you love, and some people that I like, we know she's talking about Gabriel, will end up dead. This is what I've had to do. I know I have blood on my hands. She was like, so they can't get any bloodier. Rick was looking at her like,
that's where she fucked up. That's where she fucked up. Because you know what Michonne did? Seeing her gave him hope. Bitch, you can't take that from him. Because he had given up hope and was like, this is going to be my life.
Yep.
Seeing her determination, her love, her everything, and you told me my baby okay. Okay, Jadis, you gonna die.
And Jadis knows that he has a child back there. And what was she saying to him? Oh, well, at least we had one question answered. She was like, we've had this agreement all these years that certain things will stay between us. She was like, this is officially an investigation or technically an investigation. She said, but I'm just going to keep this information here. She was like, of course, that was Michonne's sword that they found with Nat, because that, Rick had put it in Nat's hands so that it would look like Nat was the one who killed the soldiers and Michonne saved him. That's how she was able to come back. But she was like, now, if you try to leave with her, I have to make sure everybody you love dead. So let me ask you a question. She was like, Rick, what the fuck are you doing? I said, this bitch don't understand. She just literally let the dragon out the box. She opened up Pandora's box. Because you best believe,
family.
You best believe, like Rick and Michonne ain't had time to have a full, proper conversation. Believe if Michonne sees Jadis walking around there,
Rick better tell him.
He got to tell her
Rick
quick.
better tell her. He gonna tell her now, though.
Yeah, he's gonna have to.
Yeah, I have to.
Because he's gonna have to be like, okay, look, we got to play this cool. We got to figure this out because da 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 da. The first thing Michonne gonna say, oh, that bitch got to die first. She got to die.
Hell, she still got to die from when y'all turned on us in goddamn Alexandria. Baby, let me tell you something. Them two together ain't nothing nice.
And one by, I'm sorry, one by herself.
But them together?
Jadis knows this by now. Jadis has seen this. Oh, no. Oh, only Michonne could have done this.
And she knows that.
Against all odds.
She knows.
Like, how? Yeah, her ass was in Virginia. We are in Philadelphia. Two together and come up with 4.
Yep.
But you just threaten everybody in Alexandria. The people that Rick loved and the people that he don't even know is dead yet.
Yeah, that's true. He still think that they could be alive.
And Michonne too. But man, Jada's just fucked up. And I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to see it. I need to see it. I need to see it. But also too, I gotta say this, and I'm gonna say this when she comes to the camp in May. Pollyanna, McTavish, like, bitch, when I say you play the shit out of this role, because sometimes we like Jadis and sometimes we hate her, but goddamn, either way it goes. Because I didn't like her character either. I still cried for her when she had to put all her people in that grinder because of what Simon did. I still felt bad for her. Like, she plays this character to a fucking T. But I'm sorry, that bitch got to die. She got to die. You just threaten all the people that Rick loved to keep it secret. Why does it even have to be a secret? Like, I mean, as far as like, because then again, because she was the one who brought him in, so they know that she knows him. So yeah, okay.
Right, and then she didn't label him correctly either.
Yeah.
And that's the issue. Which is gonna be an issue. Because like you were going to talk about when Michonne walked up those stairs and looked at the military and already a plan was being placed.
She was like, I'm about to burn it down. She walked up there. She started flicking Nat's lighter. And I was like, oh, she is in her Daenerys Targaryen mode.
Right. And you see the word danger. You see danger. I'm like, oh. I feel so sorry for you guys. Y'all better take a vacation or something and leave.
Or something. Y'all better train some more soldiers. Something. But then did you see the preview for the next episode?
This is the reason.
Thorne better learn real quick.
Right. And this is the reason why they don't keep Ace.
And that's what Thorne said. She don't look like a bee.
No. She not acting like a bee.
She don't act like a follower.
And that she needs other people's help for her safety. She over there doing karate chops, taking off heads. Come on, friend. I need you to do low key.
Right.
Low key.
Right. But you know, Thor was also in the military, so she might give Michonne a run for her money, but I hope it doesn't come to that. I hope that they can look each other and see that they're allies. But I think if Thorne figures out who Michonne is, that kind of worries me, because at this point now she knows Rick is gonna leave, because now that he knows that she's alive, oh, that means you got a daughter that's out there that you need to get back to. Oh, that both of y'all need to get back to now. So yeah, I think, as much as she was looking out for Rick in episode 1, I really think Thorne is about to become a problem.
And she made it real clear. Ain't no we. Remember that?
I'm hoping that she isn't. I'm hoping that she and Michonne team up and Rick is like, don't do it.
Because you have to remember, Thorne is the one that's 100% behind whatever it is the CRM doing. Remember when she was looking at the newscast for Omaha, she was like, Portland needs to fall in line, or else they're going to end up like Omaha, because Omaha, they let everybody know where they were, and now they're gone. She was like, Portland needs to follow the script. They need to.
But then, no, keep in mind, she also told Rick, well, if you need my help, just ask for help. Remember?
Right. But this was before. That was before.
No, right.
She said it then too.
She said it when she said, I am helping you. When the little girl was in the.
Yeah, but that was before they found out Omaha fell. When they were in his apartment watching the newscast, that was after all of that, because remember, she told him the story about the little girl living in the museum and everything. So that was after all of that. So she was saying
I still think she's part of the plan. I think she's still part of the plan that they have. But you can still be a part of the plan and believe that we got to do it better and be safe, so things like that can happen. Because when she finds out that the CRM killed those people. Maybe.
That's the only thing I can think of that will turn her. But at the same time, she's one of those people. She's like, look, we are safe. We are being fed. We are sheltered. I don't need to go nowhere else. She has been saying this the whole time. So I don't know. Like I said, I just hope she ain't finna be a problem. But I know Michonne is about to be.
Yeah, she's about to be. She can't hide it.
With a capital Dana, she about to be.
You killed my friends. You kept my man here against his will, to the point where he done cut his hand off, even though she doesn't. I don't think the way he told it to her, maybe she doesn't realize that he cut his hand off. Maybe she thinks that they did it, because he didn't really specify. He was just like, oh yeah, it happened. It happened a few years ago after one of my last attempts. He didn't say how. So she might be thinking, oh, they done did this to him. But also, they had him trapped. He told her that. And you could tell when he saw her, he was so happy to see her. So it was definitely not I wasn't trying to get back to you. Yeah, she got a lot of, there's a lot of stuff simmering there. And I'm like, I want to see the CRM fall. I do. But at the same time, I don't really want to see that system, as far as them keeping people safe, as far as them taking care of the citizens. I don't want to see that go away. Like, they just need to change leadership. They need to change the way they are doing things. But don't burn the whole civic republic down just because the military is crooked, But
I don't think they'll burn the whole city itself, because there are people there, but that military is going down.
Yeah. But that reunion. Yeah, I cried.
Yes.
I was like, are the girls watching this? Because I need to talk about it.
Then I was crying when he pulled her aside, and I was like, oh my God, he doesn't know about RJ. Oh, she's not going to tell him. That's how I was with the blanket.
He is going to, but
it was horrible.
Because when she does finally tell him, he's going to be an emotional wreck. And I think also too, if she was to tell him that now, he wouldn't be able to go back out there and pretend like he's been pretending. No,
he's not, and that's why she knows.
Because he kind of sort of wearing everything on his face.
Yeah, she read him. She read him the correct way. That's why she gave him the pep talk.
As she always does.
Yeah. So
shit about to go down.
It is, and I'm just like, in some ways, I like the fact that we're getting each episode week by week, because we can build up that anticipation. But at the same time, I want that episode now. I need to know what's about to happen. I need to see more of them together. And it's just like, seeing them together, seeing them the way that they were with each other. It's like nothing changed.
They picked up right where they left off.
Man, like I said, the thing that I really loved about this episode was just Michonne and her openness to people, her trusting people, her learning to trust people that she just met. And then also seeing that when she's back with him, it's immediate. There's no doubt. There's no where the hell have you been? There is no why are you with them? Nothing. He said, I need you to know I'm not with them. And she was like, I love it. I love it. That's that unwavering love. That's that through everything. That's that ride or die love. I've been waiting for this for the last 4 years. I'm so glad we finally got it. Long overdue and well worth the wait.
Mm-hmm.
Me too. I'm happy they got each other. Like,
yeah, I am too.
But I'm gonna need Rick.
If it ended right here, I'll be happy. It's not going to, but
it's not
if it ended right here, I'll be happy.
No, because I need to see him. I need to see him reunite with his kids. That will be for me.
I'm just saying, we know we still got folks.
Yeah, because I need him to see RJ as a teenager.
Shut up. He's not gonna be Shut up.
Judith with her fiance.
Because in this timeline,
did you notice in the montage, he's still the same. It's still the same little boy.
Yeah, because that's what she remembers him as.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that too.
Yeah,
that's all she remembers.
Look, she hasn't seen her children.
But again, it's still only been like if we're going by the timeline that they said at the beginning of the episode, and then what we saw with them being in the mall, it's been at the least 7 years since he disappeared. At the most, probably around 7.5, 8. So it's been somewhere about a year and a half to 2 years from the time that she left. Okay. So he still could be young. He's still going to be like around 8. He just look. I know that the actor who portrays him, Anthony Azor. I know that he looks a little bit older, but it's still believable, especially if they can get away within this timeline.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll just make it'll be. I think it'll be kind of weird because Judith definitely looks like a teenager now. Like she's not the little pixie that she was when Michonne left. Mm-hmm. You know, she has grown, she has gotten older. So I feel like between now and the end of this particular series, it may be about a year, 2 years before we actually see what the conclusion is, just so it can match up with that timeline. Because if they escape now and head back to Virginia, they'll still be in that Commonwealth timeline, I think.
Yeah, and then
right around it.
Yeah, when they come home would be the time that Carol is trying to tell Daryl that he was back.
Yeah,
that Michonne and Rick is back.
Yeah. That kind of I feel like that.
She's gonna tell Daryl when she sees Daryl in the next show.
Yeah,
because we'll be done with this show and they will be at home.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping. Hope.
Yes.
Hope.
Well, they can't. I would. Neither one of them can die.
No, absolutely not.
It would defeat the purpose of the fucking show.
Right, because at this point you could have just left them alone.
Right. We need a happily ever after for these two. Right. For this series. Like, not too many people get a happily ever after, especially when it comes to the main people. Mm-hmm. They need to have theirs. If nobody else has it, they need to have theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be good.
Yeah.
Be good. Another thing, like I said, I was re-listening to our discussion from the last episode. Michelle, I think the person you were talking about when you were saying something about a crossover person, you know, and you were thinking about who me and Casey were talking about. I think you were talking about Heath and not Virgil. We said Virgil, but I think you were talking about Heath, the one with the braids, the one who disappeared with
that's what I was talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
I forgot his name, so You
Yeah.
could say any
And see,
name.
we
and I'd
were
be like,
thinking
yeah.
Virgil because you mentioned Oceanside, and I was like, oh yeah, so Virgil was at Oceanside, but I forgot Heath and Tara
Was leaving.
Heath
Yeah.
disappeared from over there. So I thought
Yeah.
about it
They
when
were
I was
leaving
listening to it.
Oceanside. Yeah.
I said, oh yeah, she's talking about Heath, not Virgil. So yes, Heath I would like to see, especially since they said something. I think Scott M. Gimple said something in an interview years ago that Heath actually was captured by the CRM, which is
And they
still
said we
kind of
was gonna see
weird.
that PPP again.
Yeah. But it's still kind of weird because if Heath and Tara both were in that area where Oceanside was, if Heath got picked up somewhere near there, you would think that Oceanside would have at least, or the CRM would have at least seen Oceanside or I don't know, but again, they probably looked at them like, oh, one, it's all women and kids, young girls. Two, they're hiding. They're not trying to be all out. So they probably like, oh, whatever. But hey, we're going to take him. So again, I don't know. I would like to see Heath. That would be cool.
See him.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So how are we feeling? We feeling good?
Feeling excited.
I'm very happy with this episode.
Yeah, I am too.
Very well written.
Right.
Very well acted. I believe it. These characters are real.
Right.
I didn't see denying Andrew. I saw Michonne and Rick.
Right.
Amazing.
And like I said, I hate that we lost Nat. I hate that we lost the other two characters too, but Nat was like, I really felt like Nat could have made it through this whole thing. He could have gone back to Alexandria with Michonne and had his happy life. I really wanted that. And I'm so bummed that we're not going to get it. Oh, well.
Oh, well.
I mean, like I said, I'm putting it in my head now that if I meet new characters and I really like them in this show, don't get attached.
They're gonna die.
Yeah, don't.
They're gonna die. Because I really
the two we care about.
I really did cry for Nat. Like I was over here boo-hooing. Like, no, they didn't kill him. No.
They killed him.
Yeah.
Right off. So who knows who we'll meet over this next episode that's gonna survive. Now we need to be playing the who gonna survive game.
I just gotta say this: Thorne ain't gonna survive. She crossed Michonne. Michonne is hell and high water to find her man. You better leave that alone.
Please don't play with her.
You better leave that alone. I'm sure she would give her a good fight. She would give her a run for her money, but this chick has traveled through states. She has traveled through hordes. She has lost people. She has left her children behind, and those children are waiting for her to bring their daddy home. Don't try it. Don't try it.
Not at all.
And I really do need to see Michonne and Jadis square off at this point.
Beat her ass.
I need to see them square off. Although I know Jadis is probably going to be very dirty about it because she is CRM. Repeat that.
Remember how she fought Annie?
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to see that square off. I need to see that fight. I need to see Jadis go down, especially for all the other stuff that she's doing. Because I think Jadis was the one who was supposed to be spearheading whatever they're supposed to be doing in Portland. But I think I want to say this particular timeline is before season 2 of World Beyond. So because Omaha just fell not too long ago.
Yeah.
So this is before all the stuff with Huck and Felix and all that. So maybe she's not doing anything yet, but it just kind of is making me, I gotta go back and look at this scene now, because there was a scene where Jadis talked to Huck and she mentioned Rick, but she didn't mention him by name. But remember, she was talking about this guy that she saved and she brought him in and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
So now I need to know where that conversation falls in this timeline. Are Rick and Michonne already
Wait.
gone?
I don't. Yeah, because wait a minute. When did they start getting that university together for the people? Before Omaha or after?
After. So this
Okay,
was
and that took
a year.
that took a year. So then they're at the end of the world beyond.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Like it failed, and then they went and supervised that construction. And when that meeting supposed to be in a year or something, or
yeah.
Okay, so now should be at the end of the world beyond.
Okay. But maybe not all the way at the end. Maybe not with all the Huck and everything stuff. Maybe that's going to be part of the end of this show, though. Maybe those events will kind of tie in.
Yeah, because remember also at the you ain't finished World Beyond yet, Michelle.
She watched the recaps.
I watched all the recaps.
Okay, but remember when the girls, well, not the girls, the group destroyed part of the CRM Navy in the World Beyond. So there's a way to get them, out the way.
Yeah. So, and remember, Huck destroyed that one site that had the chlorine gas. Remember, she sacrificed herself to blow it up.
Yes.
So maybe they'll bring those events. Maybe that'll tie in with this as well.
Yeah.
True.
Okay. All right. See, now I got to go back and watch those last few episodes and kind of see if I can see how it's going to tie together. And then I got to really pay attention to what Jadis says about Rick in that conversation with Huck. Because remember, she was having that conversation with Huck when she was starting to suspect that Huck had turned traitor against the CRM. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go back and pay attention to that.
Yeah.
And see how that ties together. Okay. Did we hit all the notes that we needed to hit for this episode? Lots of death, sad deaths. We got the reunion of a lifetime.
And it feels so good.
That was all I was singing in my head all afternoon. I mean, you see my screen name. That's all it was. I was just like, oh. And it's like I just kept rewinding that part because I was like, I got to see it again. Like the looks on their face, the way they cried when they held each other for the first time. When Rick was just like, is Judith okay? She's okay? She's okay. He was like, she's okay. And I think it was so funny because when they saw each other and had that conversation again after she became a consignee, and he asked her again about Judith, he said they're okay at first, and then he said she's okay. And I think at first I was starting to think, okay, maybe he did know about RJ, but then I think no. I think he was so used to thinking about Michonne and Judith together that whenever he was talking about them, it was there, like he did with Thorne. When she was like, she's gone, he was like, she's not gone, they're not gone. I think he was just so used to talking about there when he was like, they're okay, is she okay? I think he had to correct himself, like, wait, you're standing right in front of me.
And then I took it as our main crew is okay, but really
that's what I took it as.
Judith's okay.
Yeah,
that's what
I was thinking.
Yeah,
like really Daryl, Carol, like are Judith, are they okay?
Everybody okay.
But is Judith okay?
Right, but again, too, like you said, Michelle, she really don't know that they're okay because she don't because she left before things got really, really bad with the Whisperers.
With the Whisperers, yeah, she has no idea.
Like I was laughing when she was telling Nat and them that they could come back to Alexandria. She was like, "Yeah, we got room, but it needs some building." I was like, "Oh, honey, you have no idea.
It's rebuilt. Yeah,
you have no idea. Like
you got a windmill."
Right.
That's working for real now.
Right.
No, it's beautiful. That's all I have to say. I had something else, but I kind of lost my train of thought. It's beautiful.
It's okay.
It's
Michonne does
beautiful.
that to us.
Mm-hmm.
Makes us lose our thought.
Oh, I was thinking because someone had threw in the old meme of when this is so wrong, when he was saying Claw's name, after Lori died.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no. Of course, if his child was not alive, she should not have told him that because we will get that same scene. No.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's funny.
Yeah. But
no, Carl. No.
That's okay. We got it. And like I said, I'm so happy that they gave it to us in the middle of the episode, and then we still got to see more of them together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I was not expecting that.
Mm-hmm.
So literally when it got to the part where they were about to reunite, I had to check the time on the stream because I was like, this can't be a whole episode. Then I looked, I was like, wait, I got a whole nother 20 minutes. What?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm happy. So yeah.
Let me just say that kiss, they was kissing for real.
Yeah.
It's for real kissing.
Yo, that was a good one. That was a good kiss. Yeah.
That wasn't no
very good
kiss. That was a kiss.
Mm-hmm.
That was what we've been waiting for.
Right.
They gave it to us.
And then a couple episodes, you're gonna try to get into that apartment.
I don't know if they need to risk that right now. They both let me not say. I was gonna say they both gonna be walking funny, and then everybody really gonna No, I just need them to hold on. They just need to hold on. They need to keep their heads clear so they can formulate a plan to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So and then when they go back home and they see what's going on and they hear about the Commonwealth, the CRM can come looking for them because they're going to have Mercer and his soldiers that can be there to help fight. So, yeah. So, yep. We can do that. CRM versus the Commonwealth. I'm here for it. All right. Well, that's it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media, on all the social medias at Fandom Hybrid. You can chat with us on our Discord channel. You can watch our videos on our YouTube channel, and you can listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.